Are you ready for some tea? Some wedding tea? Well, welcome to my YouTube channel. It's Desiree here, and I'm so excited to see you. Allow me to sit this down. Well, I am back for another one of these hilarious, sometimes very dramatic wedding stories. And yeah, I am thrilled to share this one with you. So let's go ahead and get started. This one we are going to call Altered Reality. Altered Reality. I'm guessing you are already laughing at this title. Yeah, this one is a bit hilarious in my opinion. So, of course, I need to give you some background on the couple before I even begin the story. This was a younger couple. They had met in college and they had decided that they were going to get married. They had been engaged for about 2 years, but honestly had not started planning their wedding until about 6 months before the official day. Needless to say, they were going to need a lot of help. She was an educator and he was in the manufacturing industry. Both of them seemed to pair well really, really nicely, and I love their energy. They were marrying at a boutique hotel downtown Chicago. They were having both their ceremony and reception there for about 150 to 160 wedding guests. So the average wedding guest count in our city. So needless to say, I didn't think we were going to have any issues with this wedding, but as always, there I go thinking. So let's go ahead and get started. I was referred to this couple by one of my industry peers, all right? I love this woman to pieces. And she had shared with me that she had known this couple, not necessarily the couple, but their family for quite some time, and that they were really, really cool. So the couple reached out to me. I shared my information with them and I didn't hear back from them for a couple days, all right? So I reached out to my friend and said, hey, do you have any information that you can share with me about this couple on where they are in the decision-making process? Because I forgot to mention to you all, when they reached out to me, it was about 5 weeks before their wedding, and they were looking to hire a wedding day coordinator. For us, we call it wedding direction and management. So they were 5 weeks out, which meant I was going to have to take on a lot of work, a lot of responsibility, process, download all of this information in a very short period of time. So I wanted them, and really did need them, to sign the contract as quickly as possible. So as I shared, I reached out to my planner friend. I says, hey, do you have any insight, any update or information that you can give me regarding this couple? She said that she would go ahead and reach out to the bride and just to kind of pick her brain to see where she was. Later that evening, the bride reached out to me. Thanks, friend. And she said that she was interested in the services and she loved everything about the presentation, etc., but they were looking at another planner. I'm okay with that. Let me be honest. I am used to couples seeking out another planner outside of the Dejanay events team. I'm cool with that. In all honesty, I want you to do that so that when you loop back around to us, you know you made the right choice, okay? So I says, hey, that's fine. Keep me updated. But I want to reiterate to you that whoever you hire, you need to move as swiftly as possible because, again, we are 5 weeks out before this wedding. She said, okay. I left it at that. My friend reaches out to me the next day to let me know who that planner was that she was interested in. Let me lean in and tell y'all something. Yes, us creatives in this industry, we talk, okay? And if we have some information that we could share with that person who we think would be best fit with the job, we're going to do that. So please know that, okay? Don't be offended by me saying that, yeah, I spoke with my friend and she told me XYZ because, yes, she is my friend. She wants me to win this contract, but she also wants me to be armed with all of the information. Okay, I'm gonna step back. So yeah, my friend reached out to me and said, hey, I figured out who she is interested in. It's blah, blah, blah. Me being the person I am, I went on, and did a little research, checked out a little Facebook page, website, LinkedIn, all of those things to see who the quote unquote competition was. Well, I learned, if for nothing else, that this person charged half the amount. Yeah, I said half, real like with force. She charged half the amount of what I charged. In my mind, I'm like, well, if this couple is very much focused on the dollar amount, they're going to go with this planner. But if they want somebody with experience who's going to knock it out the park, handle all of the emergencies that are going to be thrown at us throughout that day, you want to hire the DE team. So I said, hey, it is going to be what it's going to be. We've got 5 weeks. This bride needs to go ahead and make that decision. The bride reached out to me shortly thereafter and says, hey, we have been discussing and talking with another planner and learned that their prices are, slightly a bit different than what your prices are. And I'm like, okay, that's wonderful. And I shared with her just what I told you all. If you're about price, then maybe that is a person for you. But let me arm you with some questions that you should ask this planner to determine if this is going to be the right fit for you. I shared those questions with her. I'll say this. Let me lean in. If y'all want to know the questions, send me a DM. I'm not going to discuss them right here on this YouTube, okay? Back into the screen. I told her these are the questions that you need to ask that person to make sure they can deliver and do what you need on wedding day. And then just let me know either way, if you're going to hire the DE team or if you're going to hire that planner. Regardless, I need to know something. I left it alone. 2 days later, she contracted the DE team. So now that the contract is signed, I told the couple, I need all of your information. I need the contracts. I need your wedding party information. I need all of the forms that I have sent you to be input and uploaded into our CRM so that I can start to put this file together so that I can begin to download all of this information. And I also need to know some dates for 1, in which we can have our planning meeting, and for 2, in which we can meet over at the venue. Okay. The bride said she was on it. She had a couple of wedding projects that she needed to work on, but she was all ready and she was going to go ahead and give me that information. In the meantime, upon waiting for that information, I reached out to the venue manager I had a relationship with this person as well, and said, hey, could you give me some calendar dates as to when we could come on over to your venue and do the walkthrough? All right. The venue manager was super, super happy that this bride had gone ahead and went with the DE team. She gave me a shout out and said, hey, I told her she needed to hire you all from jump. I was like, I appreciate you, boo. I'm on the team. We're going to be real good on this May wedding date. Okay. The venue manager went on ahead, gave me some dates. I shared those dates in advance with the couple so that we can pick and then go ahead and meet over at the venue. I will say this, I like to have the planning meeting before the final walkthrough, but based on all of our schedules, it was going to make better sense to go ahead and have the walkthrough first. So I created a very, very rough draft of the timeline because I had not received all of the information I needed from the couple, but I needed to have a starting point when we met over at the venue. So now it's walkthrough day. Head on over to the venue. It's myself there. The floral designer is there, the couple, as well as the venue manager. And all of us hugged because none of us had met one another. All of this information had transpired between virtual meetings and phone calls. We had never really met in person, so it was nice to see a portion of the team together over at the walkthrough. So the venue manager walks us through the venue. She shows us where cocktails will be, how ceremony would be set up, the entrance points for the guests, wedding party, showed us the restroom, the bridal suite. She even took us into the hotel room so we could just see what those would look like as well. So yeah, all of the things that needed to take place happened during this walkthrough. And then we get into the ballroom to discuss the floor plan. Now, this is where the confusion began, and I started to see some things that I wasn't too sure of how this was going to turn out on their wedding day. We're now in the ballroom, and I learned in this moment that the couple literally had some major edits to the floor plan. And when I say major, I mean major to the point that it was going to change the scope of what the floral designer was going to be producing on that day. Now, that's a little bit scary, especially because we're less than 5 weeks out. When I started this story, we were 5 weeks out. We're now looking at a month before the wedding, kind of like a month to 3 weeks before the wedding when this meeting took place. And so for them to make these major edits to the floor plan, that were going to affect the floral designer, her orders for those flowers had to be in like in the next couple days, or there was going to be an increase and upcharge in pricing. The couple was okay with that. They were like, when we leave here, such and such is going to give us a brand new floor plan. The floral designer is going to go ahead and make these changes, and we can have all of this solidified by tomorrow so that she can go ahead and place the order. And I knew I was going to have to stay on this couple about making sure that they reached out to that floral designer, answered whatever questions she needed, and processed that final order so that she could receive that final payment, order the flowers, all of those things. We didn't need any problems because, like I said, we're like 3 to 4 weeks before the wedding. The finalization of any and everything needs to be done immediately. And I stress immediately because this wedding is going to happen very, very soon. So I get back to my office after this walkthrough. Like I said, the walkthrough was okay. It wasn't the best, but again, I was not armed with the planning meeting and all of those good details that I need to have a very efficient walkthrough. So we got through what we needed to do, but I knew once I got back to the office, all of the questions were just literally going to flood my mind, information that I needed to get from the couple. I reached out to the bride via email. I says, hey, remember, I need contracts, et cetera, and you've only sent me maybe 10% of the request. And I'm looking in my CRM and you have not uploaded wedding party information, all of those details. I really, really need you to get on it. And honestly, I thought with her being an educator that she was going to be so organized, that she was going to give me any and everything that I needed in an efficient manner. And that's what I get for thinking. Once again, this honey child right here wasn't giving me not a damn thing. It was like I was asking a toddler, to give me basic information. And with toddlers, their attention span is very short and sometimes they don't comprehend real well. Yeah, that's the type of energy I was getting from this young lady. Now, don't get me wrong. She was happy. She was excited about the wedding. She's going to be marrying her boo and all of those things. But the wedding planning portion of it, the coordination of it, the making sure I received what I needed, that did not matter to her. And I wasn't the only vendor. The DJ, the floral designer, the venue manager, the videographer, no one had what they needed. Now that started to concern me a bit because, like I said, I was brought on at the tail end. I have to think, you've hired these people, you've given them their deposits. Can you give them the basics information that they need? Yeah, she wasn't. And now I'm really, really concerned. So let's move forward. A couple days after this meeting, I reached out to my industry friend and I says, hey, I'm gonna need you to keep it real with me and give me a little insight on this young woman, this young couple. She went on and called me on the telephone. Yeah, I had texted her initially. She decided to call me. She says, honey, listen here. I'm very, very good friends with a particular family member, and this is the younger daughter in this family. I'm like, okay, that's fine. She is like, yeah, and she likes to light it up every now and then. I'm not sure what that means. And she says, well, she I'm like, oh, okay. She likes a little cannabis time and time again. She was like, yeah. And she was at that meeting, floating in so many words. I'm like, oh, okay. So she was not comprehending everything we were saying to her. And when she got back home, she wasn't comprehending the fact that I needed a lot of this information immediately because she was in a bit of an altered state, you would say. Now, let me just say this. I am not talking to my industry friend like this. I'm having that conversation with you all on YouTube so that I don't get banned. But the conversation was hilarious, and I learned that she like to partake in some recreational activities time and time again. You know the drill. Tune in next week for some more wedding tea.